Hey, what's up, my little TisaTells? How y'all doing today? Listen, I just finished getting my snacks and watching the Real Housewives of Atlanta Part 3, Season 3 reunion. Whatever. Listen, let's get down to it. Andy Cohen needs to retire. That's it. Period. It's a wrap. Listen, let me tell you something. Part of the reason this reunion, I think, was not given the third part was because, one, I don't think Marlo was the right choice to center. Sheree always gets a good show, but let's talk about what Andy Cohen did. Andy Cohen, every single time they tried to have an argument, and I don't mean argument like but I mean resolve something, Andy Cohen would be like, can we move on? He didn't want people raising their voices. He didn't want people over talking, unless it was Marlo. Marlo was allowed to over talk everyone. And for some reason, Drew and Sheree were allowed to go back and forth. Drop it like who? She by when? She by when she ready. Drop it by who? Drop it by who? Right? He let that go on forever. But every time there was something outside of that, and we were like, can we hear that? Andy didn't want anything to do with that. Andy also was over it. He was over them. He thought they were tired. They were through. They were delayed. And it showed. Why? I have a question for you. If you were over them, if you've been doing this job for 14 years, if they're saying the same things and it's getting on your nerves, why are you there? There were a million other people that could have added energy, excitement, and just delight to the reunion. The fact that you read these dumb questions, the fact that y'all didn't say anything, why are you here, Andy Cohen? Listen, I know, Andy, with all these reboots of the shows, with all the recastings, how come it's never clicked for anybody? Why don't we get new people hosting the show? I was sitting there thinking, and I was talking to my bestie, and she had a great idea. Wouldn't it be funny if old housewives hosted the reunion? Wouldn't that be funny? And we could bring back some old housewives to host the reunion? Now that would be funny. Wouldn't it be funny if we could have other people like Nicki Minaj and whatnot come through and host a reunion? You know, it's like me coming on and being like, oh my God, the episode was so boring. I'm tired of the... No. If you thought the episode was boring, Tisa, why are you reviewing it? I'm coming to you to be entertained. Your job, Tisa, is to entertain me. I don't want to hear how you were bored. And if you're bored, don't review it. Who liked it? The fact that Andy was so over all the mess and drama that he really made the reunion so boring, so stale. And the fact that he sat there just kept falling for Marlo's sob stories. And the fact that Marlo was sitting there just kissing up to Andy. Every time Andy said a joke, all you heard was a hearty laugh in the back. Ho, 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 ho. Like, Marlo, shut up. We get it. Kissing up. But I guess it was the right thing to do because it looks like the producers are set for Drew and Sheree's drama to carry on to next season, and for Marlo to what? Her redemption story. They're like, it didn't work out this season, Marlo being a villain, right? Kenya was too likable, too bubbly, too beautiful. So what did they do? They're setting it up for now. Marlo's going to be what? She's going to turn into Portia's story for next season. Spoiler alert. Drew said that they're starting to film in October. And I don't think certain faves have gotten a contract yet. Now, that might change, but I'm just saying, it looks like that $5 million lie was a big lie. Somebody might be willing to do it for a Popeyes, 3 wings and a biscuit. And you throw in the apple pie. All right, fine. The apple pie is asking too much. It's 3 wings and a biscuit. Y'all, let's get into this reunion. Hit that like, subscribe button on the way in. I just really felt like with the reunion, Andy ruined the reunion for me. I mean, there were still some funny parts. We're going to get into it. It was like the questions he asked didn't make any sense. They were the questions nobody wanted to know. He literally had a whole segment about whether Drew knew whether Ralph was writing the book on being a step parent. And the whole time I'm sitting there thinking, but are we going to ask why you don't want to adopt the child? Drew literally said he treats Josiah different than the other kids. Are we going to touch on that? Can we talk about that? That's interesting. Literally, I don't understand the producers. Why are you focusing on this dumb stuff? Why are you putting Marlo and her sob story in the front? Yes, She by Sheree. That was a great moment. And that the last episode with the fashion show felt like old school Real Housewives of Atlanta. And then you come with this reunion. You guys can't think, like, literally, if that's the case and there wasn't anything to see, why didn't you have funny outtakes? Why didn't you have like a director's cut of the highest rated episodes? Why didn't you give the fans anything what we wanted? And why, oh why is Andy Cohen still hosting these reunions? I really need to know. Listen, Gloria said, I can't believe this is RHOA. Listen. That's another thing too. I'm kind of sick of Bravo. I don't understand how, like, it's a network and it's some of the biggest positions, from the host to the producers. They are members of the LGBTQ community, right? So I don't understand how now I understand 14 years ago, it was a different time. People thought different. What was acceptable was different, right? Just like if we go like back 50, 60, 80 years ago, when was the civil rights, right? If we go back that far, I probably wouldn't be allowed to sit in the front of the bus, right? I probably wouldn't even be allowed to live half the places I do. But things change and evolve. Why are we still having homophobic arguments? And I'm being dead serious. The whole thing about Ralph being called gay and Ralph, hey, thank you. Thank you, Dragon Lord 72 Tarot. Like the Abby, make sure y'all follow Dragon Set Lord 72 Tarot. You should have pulled your cars out on the reunion. Let us know what was going on. But all jokes aside, right? Thank you so much, though. All jokes aside, and this is what I'm confused about. A gay man. So again, I'm not part of the LGBTQ, so I don't want to overstep bounds. But it struck me as odd that a gay man is sitting there on the stage leading questions about, you call me gay. No, I didn't. Like, it's a big insult. If that was me and they were talking about someone being black, I really would have been like, but what's the big deal if you are black? Like, what's the big deal? I'm confused. Because honestly, let me fix this thing. It's really bothering me. Sorry. Because honestly, and I have to say this, right? The question is whether Ralph is gay or not. Are you cheating on Drew? Right? I mean, we're in 2023. It don't matter what you like, right? It doesn't. That's you. That's your personal life. It don't matter what you like. As long as it's legal, we cool, right? As long as it's legal, right? We're cool. So my question is, I don't care if Ralph likes men or not. I care whether he's cheating on his wife. To actually say, and it feeds into like really damaging stereotypes of like gay men like being on the down low, cheating on their wives. I don't know, it just is weird. It's like, Bravo, when you come to 2023, how is being gay, calling somebody gay, a storyline anymore? How isn't that something that's just like, grow up and then you just move on? Instead, we're gonna have another deep discussion on whether you call me gay. What, a gay man sitting in the middle of the stage? I don't know, that just struck me as odd. Listen. No, but James, I get it. He's married, but that doesn't mean he's cheating. Ralph is gay and he's married. There are plenty of bi people that are also married. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, to me, it's like, okay, fine, but are you cheating? That's what I care about. Thank you, Dragon Lord. Thank you. Listen. Hey, what's up, Lily? Listen, Marlo's segment was sorry and it was boring. Everybody, welcome to Dragon Lord 72. Again, as a new member of the YouTube fam. Thank you. Thank you, Brown Sugar. This is my reunion wig. Okay, listen. Now, here's what I'm saying. Let's get into this. First of all, why was it boring? Because Andy was hell-bent, right, on rehabbing Marlo. That argument between Drew and, first of all, Sonya, you're a girl talker, but girl, shut up. Nobody wants to hear your newscaster things of everything that came up. Well, I understand. I would like to say that for all you ladies, I really feel that I've gotten to grow and know a lot of you. However, on one hand, I did think that she could have been a little bit different. Sonya, shut up. Don't nobody want your newscaster explanations for why people don't like each other. We've been watching these people for 14 years. Get in while you fit in. We know their dynamics better than you and better than whatever Marlo told you. Marlo, well, I guess I do have to do better. And this is my promise to you. Literally, Andy probably pulled her aside and a Bravo exec was like, listen, you ranked horrible with the fans. We need you to go on your redemption arc. Marlo apologizing without apologizing. I apologize, and I just hope that will never happen again. Marlo, shut up. Like, this whole thing was just like everything that you could have. Kenya, and you know what the scary thing is? He didn't really ask Kenya and Candy too much. He didn't. And the thing is, Candy, whenever Marlo, Drew, and Sheree were getting into it, I was just so bored. Candy came in and I said, and Candy was like, well, this and that, blah, 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 blah. And Candy started adding some life and some fire into the show. And Andy cut her off to let boring Marlo like say her place. And let's get into this, right? Marlo was on her apology tour, but it was a dumb apology tour. It was a Marlo redemption show. But let me tell y'all something. Why was it a redemption show? Marlo's storyline was boring. How is it a storyline that you went after Kenya insistently? Kenya would be sitting there minding her business, eating her gummy chocos, right? Minding her business, eating her gummy chocos. Like, And Marlo would be like, that's why your man, mom ain't love you. That's why Mark did that. That's why Brooklyn. That's why this and that. Like, Marlo. And then as soon as you're like, Marlo, what happened? Why you do that? Marlo would be like, I'm sorry, it's because I grew up in foster care and I did this and I did that. Marlo talking about some Candy made me be worldwide, but she's in a rap. She's in the R&B. Marlo's been hanging around too many white people that look down on Black culture. That's why she gives that sob story. I'm telling you, the coded language. She's in rap. She's in R&B. Candy's worldwide. Marlo says, yes, but we don't run in the same circles. I know you don't, because if we did, we know who your sugar daddy was and who you messing with, Marlo. I know we don't run in the same circles. We don't run in the same circles. We know, right? But if I was to go to Paris, I'm sorry, my gummy bear. Let me do my Marlo voice. But if I was going to Paris, if I was to be accepted into Paris, I would get in. Candy, we can't go to the same places. And Candy was like, girl, you better stop, right? No, like, it's fine. Anywhere R&B, that's her. Rap, that's her. It's not me. I said, Marlo, you was literally calling people in LA trying to get reservations in California restaurants. Don't tell me you're worldwide known in Paris and you can just walk in to whatever, but you sitting there trying to get people to get you reservations in Nobu, Malibu, and all these other places. I thought you was that girl, because somebody that definitely can get in any place in Paris can definitely get into any restaurant in Los Angeles or Malibu. I'm just saying. Dragon Lord said, Marlo needs to be gone, like a rotten tooth needs to be removed. Listen, I agree with you, Dragon Lord. Marlo gave the worst performance ever. Andy fell for it. Hook, line, and sinker. And listen. Marlo's doing what producers told her. And this is what I want to say about the Real Housewives. Let me drop this call-in link, right? I'm going to go through really quick what happened in the show. But it was just like, like every time they had a choice between go left and right, they systematically picked the dumbest road they could travel. They always picked the dumbest option for questions, right? Anyway, Drew and Ralph were fake. Ralph was sitting there acting like, and this is my problem with Real Housewives of Atlanta and all the Housewives shows. When Housewives first started, for good or bad, they were authentic. Nobody, how like you watch a Netflix show or you watch a show. I was just talking about this with my bestie. She made a good point. You know how like when you watch a TV show and the first season or two is good and then it blows up and then it gets bad because all the actors start playing to the fans. They start reading the blogs, listening, and playing to what the fans want. I feel like this is honestly what happened in Real Housewives of Atlanta. You even look at Sheree, right? Everybody, honestly, except for Kenya and Candy, right? Everybody else, you can tell, went to the fans, read up on things, and they are becoming, Sheree is like kind of authentic too. But the thing is with Kenya and Candy, why I think they're more authentic, Kenya and Candy, also I did an interview with Candy. Please check it out on my channel if you can. Kenya and Candy, they have evolved. They have grown. Candy, when we saw her, she was single. She was looking for love. She was trying to build her empire. She was trying to expand, right? She met Todd. She had 2 kids, but not even that. She expanded. Now she literally is singer, producer. She has a show on Broadway, right? Which we need to get tickets. I think it's Thoughts of a Colored. What's it called? No, the piano lesson, right? I'm gonna put the link below. Make sure you guys go and support Candy's play. I know I'm getting my parents tickets for that, but honestly, Thoughts of the Color Man, I think that's the one that had to close down early because of COVID. But my whole point of saying this is Candy actually evolved in career, personally, everything about her evolved. Kenya, we met her when she was dating Stuart Warren, whatever his name was, and now look at her. She is a proud mommy. She's finally taken this time to love herself. There's so much. Sheree, we haven't really seen her. And honestly, by the way she's done in the moves, I would guess, Sheree, you have not evolved. Everybody else on that stage literally watched it, read the blogs, and now they're putting on a character. When Real Housewives of Atlanta first started, it was so fresh because everybody was being authentic. They were authentic hot mess. They were authentically snooty. They were authentically whatever they were authentic. They gave their real selves. They weren't just playing for the camera. They knew the cameras were there, but they were still being themselves. That's done. The age of Marlo, the age of Drew, the age of Ralph, sitting there giving newscaster answers, and also the age of Sonia. I like all of them individually, but the fact that the producers are sitting there, letting them give speeches, basically, speeches, and answers to reunion questions when reunion questions are supposed to get down to the nitty gritty. Now, why are they doing that? Well, I'll tell you why. Andy Cohen doesn't care. He's literally on the phone, texting his kids, Daddy loves you. Andy is just over it. And there's nothing wrong with that. Nobody wants to do the same thing for 14 years, but why doesn't he get out of there? Honestly, I just don't. Even when Drew and Sheree were arguing over Anthony, and Andy's like, I think the guy's just like playing you both, and got back on the phone. Yes, we know that, Andy, but we came here for drama. Will you shut up and like just like add like the way he used to be shady and add fuel to the fire? Instead, it's not even like he's trying to squash the fire. He's not even trying to get like understanding. Andy is just sick of everyone and everything. He thinks the whole thing is stupid and he just wants everybody to shut up. And that's the energy he gave. Like, can y'all just shut up so this can be over? Why they stretched this out to 3 reunions, I don't know. I really don't know. I really don't know. The fact that you sat there and will let Ralph give a speech, Drew gives a speech, Marlo gives a speech, Sonia gives several speeches. Kenya tries to be like, well, I think, let's move on. Candy tries to explain, yeah, okay, fine. And then he would move on. Man, okay, we'll speed through this and I'll drop the caller link because I want to hear what y'all guys say because, I just feel like, honestly, and I can't stop feeling it, I do feel like Andy ruined the reunion. Again, Ralph with his written answers, right? The book, why are we talking about whether Drew knew about the book being written? Isn't the real thing, Andy Cohen, the fact that Drew just said that her husband does not treat her biological son the same way as his biological children, that Ralph didn't want to adopt her son, right? And we're talking about him shopping around a book deal behind Drew's back. Ralph is full of it, right? Listen, but it's odd to me also, which is weird, the same way Andy, when he's asking questions, he's so understanding to the fact that Ralph just casually says, I'm going to adopt that boy, right? And he's also so casual about the fact that Marlo was like, I needed to put the kids out because I needed a break for me. And I'm like, how is this acceptable? And you're just like, yeah, understandable. Andy, you're the only one that understands. Can you rewind that and ask him? So why aren't you adopting a boy that you basically raised from the time he was a young kid? I'm sorry, Marlo, why did you put your boys out? Like, it's just nonsensical to me. So Andy's being nonsensical. Let's see. Marlo's being hateful. Every time she's hateful, she needs to apologize. And then Andy will give her the assist. Like, you know what? Let's just move on. Like, okay, Drew and Sheree kept going back and forth. Everybody was kissing up to Andy as usual, but Andy's energy was so off. It was so odd. Marlo had the nerve to say when she was sitting there being like, Marlo is so hateful. right? That's why Candy, yeah, she this nigga, I pay for people, gotta do this, gotta do that. That's why Candy did this. That's why Candy did that. And then had the nerve to sit up on stage and say, I'm sorry, I guess I was triggered because I'm not married. But you just said 2 scenes ago that you're not married because you don't want to be married, but now you want to be married and Candy's triggering you because she's defending her marriage. Todd got up on stage and ate Marlo up and said, like, Marlo, you was thirsty for the housewives. You literally paid for your tickets, paid for your room and board. You basically invited yourself and paid for the whole trip. Marlo was like, did I pay? Did I? And Andy was like, I think he's saying you did. Andy, do your job. Do your job. But obviously Andy's job was protecting Marlo. Protecting Marlo is Andy's job. I think Andy's ready to leave, but his last gift to the housewives is bringing Marlo on. Or maybe, and I was just actually thinking that when I was watching it, maybe what's going on is Marlo, Andy was the final deciding push and actually the one that got Marlo on the show and got her moved from friend to housewife. Maybe that's why Andy's protecting Marlo so much. Think about it. Do you think the reason Andy's protecting Marlo so much is because that's his investment and he vouched for her? So now he can't let her be a flop because the network heads are going to look at him and be like, but you told us she was a safe bet, right? Todd sat up there and told the truth, said Marlo paid for everything on the old trips. Marlo talked about she's in different circles with Candy. Candy's rap R&B, also. And this is, and you know what? Let me drop the call on me because I will say this. I'm about sick of Real Housewives of Atlanta, and I don't care if the housewives agree with it or not. I am sick of these characters that they actively push about being a Black woman. Sonya had the nerve to sit on stage and say KFC was magical, and that's how Black people make up. These women sat on stage with Andy. I was kind of like shocked that, like, the KFC, is that a thing? Is it? And everybody on stage had the nerve to be like, oh, yeah, kissing up to Andy. To the point of Sonya, what? KFC is magical, Andy. You didn't know that? That's how we all end our arguments. You guys are all strong, successful Black women, and you have the nerve to be sitting up on Real Housewives of Atlanta, Bravo's #1 reality show, talking about KFC is magical. First of all, it's not you. KFC is magical. That's right, brethren, my fellow Black people. When's the last time somebody basically said you were sucking D in a locker room and you slept with half of Atlanta? That's why nobody wants you anymore, this and that. And they give you a 3-piece and biscuit and you look at them and be like, yo, we good, we cool. Because that's what Black people do, right? We make up with the KFC. It's magical. Sonya's ass was so thirsty to be asked back. She told us KFC was magical. And that's how we solve our arguments. I can't. The level of, and this is Bravo's problem. Bravo was doing good till the pandemic. They were doing so good. I look back at old Bravo things and I'm like, God, it was racist. God, it was homophobic. God, it was like just, ew. I look at the old stuff. It was fine till 2019. Something happened in that pandemic where we had a cultural reset. Right? We had a cultural reset and Bravo never reset. Bravo's using the same tropes, the same narratives, the same hot buttons, the same this. The world has changed. Catch up. It now feels uncomfortable. Why a gay man sitting on stage to sit there and see a guy having an argument because somebody called him gay. Not cheating, not a liar, not a con artist, but the fact that you might be gay. It is 2023. Is it 2? Sorry. Got ahead of myself. It's 2022. Are you serious? The fact that we got 6 successful Black women in their own right sitting on stage talking about KFC being magical. And I can't. Dragon Lord Tarot, thank you again for the super chat, said the fact that Sonya said their original recipe at KFC is magical is confirming those gold medals didn't give her any class, my opinion. Listen, You know what? I agree with you to point. I don't even know if this is about Sonya having class, but more of the fact of you're so desperate to get a second season and suck up to Andy that you know the producers want that soundbite of KFC being magical because that's what we blackies love, right? That you are going along with it. First of all, Tanya, you're Jamaican. I didn't see you eat KFC one time the whole season. What are you talking about? KFC is magical. Shut up. So, God, listen. Listen, let's get into this. I'm going to read some comments. Alicia, thank you so much. Alicia, thank you so much for the super chat. Listen, they all co-signed the chicken stereotype, but also, since when has KFC been magical? Did Bravo get an endorsement for KFC? Magical? You're putting 20 on 10. Okay, Scorpio said, I need to know why Sheree can say Kenya's aggressive, but what Ross did wasn't aggressive. Let me tell you something. I find it odd the way Sheree, I'll say this. I do believe, and again, this is just from the outsider looking in, I do believe that Sheree is jealous of Kenya's strength. Not in the way that she wants to see Kenya down in the dirt or destroyed, but I do think that she is envious of the strength that Sheree that Kenya has that Sheree wishes she had. Kenya makes shit happen. The fact that we're all overlooking the fact that Kenya was in a narcissistic, abusive relationship with a guy that was trying to destroy her and literally work with her enemies to destroy her and break her. This man literally was sitting there keying and co-signing with Nene, Kenya's sworn enemy. Mark tried to break her. And somehow Kenya flipped that script, got her baby, found a way to be strong enough to cut off Mark. Because I don't care what you say, Kenya loved Mark, but more importantly, she loved the idea of having a mommy, daddy, raising baby Brooklyn, right? The fact that Kenya was strong enough to cut off all that mess, get her hair care up and running, hold her own, get on Dancing with the Stars, and do all that stuff for Brooklyn. And we're not talking about that. Sheree is jealous, in my opinion. Not maybe jealous isn't wrong, but she envies Kenya's strength. She wishes it was her. She wishes she was Kenya. She's wishing the way when the chips are down, Kenya's like, all right, let's get this popping. Let's go. There's a strength that Sheree, because honestly, who's more aggressive talking to men than Sheree? Seriously, remember the who gonna check you, boo? Don't get me wrong, that guy was wrong, but the way they were going at it, I was like, Sheree, calm down. Is security really gonna, are the cameramen gonna jump in if this guy punches you in the face? Sheree is known for being aggressive and getting in men's faces. And not saying this, I'm not saying that she was wrong in those situations for doing it. What I'm saying is, I do believe that Sheree holds a little bit of envy for the way Kenya, even if she is cast out of heaven, she finds a way to land on her feet and climb her way back up. And Sheree doesn't know how to do that. And I think Sheree loves Kenya being put in her place for that. What's up, Betty? How you doing? Betty?
Hey, Tisa
Hey, what's up,
girl.
mama?
Hey.
Hi.
Shout out to the new dude. You are rocking that.
Oh, thank you.
You look
Got my
so
new
good.
wig.
I love it.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, I was just reading the chat, girl. My bad. But yeah, so I agree with most of what you just said. And I'm always gonna give Kenya, let me be clear, because I do feel like some people feel like, oh, they're standing or maybe there's team stuff going on. I am on nobody's team. In the beginning, I thought Kenya was obnoxious, but she was great TV. I never had an issue with Kenya. My issue is when the show became everybody hates Kenya. That's when I got an issue, because I'm like, why is this show now becoming this thing where it's like we all log in to hate on Kenya? I thought that was
Mhm.
weird. So that's where I started kind of speaking out against that, because I felt like it was working and a lot of the audience, was falling into that trap. So
Yeah.
with all that being said, let me just say I agree with you. Shout out to Kenya. I think that um when you look back at it, Kenya has really given us a really good journey and evolution on this show. And even though it was obvious that she would play up and she would do the entertainment thing, she's an actress. She did also give us a piece of her real life, and I think that that should be respected, because a lot of the girls don't do that. And
Mm.
you pointed that out. A lot of the girls don't do that. A lot of the girls just look, they just play a character that they feel like the audience is going to respond to. They read the blogs, they read what's going on online, and they create a personality based off of that.
Yeah.
And that, in my opinion, is like whack. I don't want to watch a show where people are pandering to me. This is reality TV. This is not what I'm logging in for. I'm here for
Mhm.
reality, even if when I don't like it, at least it's the reality. It's real. And I can make an honest I can take, I can have an honest opinion of what just happened, as opposed to people are trying to force me to go one way and force me to have an opinion.
Exactly.
Yeah. So Andy ruined the reunion because he was
He
trying to
did.
force us to have an opinion and force us to think things that we don't want to think. And I don't like that. And my theory is that Andy is trying to get Candy and Kenya off the show. And because the producers, I think they realized that everything they had, the reunion, there was no way they could make this reunion not be focused on Candy and Kenya. So they made this decision to not go that route and just create this discombobulated, strange pacing of reunion where we are just literally just going around Kenya and Candy. It's like everything is just moving around Kenya and
Wasn't it
Candy
weird?
so that we just don't
It's
focus on
weird.
them. And it's very strange. And I don't understand why.
I don't, but you know what though? I think you guys might hit it on the head. What you're saying, and who said that? Where is it? Somebody actually said that they want Marlo because she's worth. Oh, here we go. Anaya is right on my screen.
Yeah, somebody last week said that the new girls are cheaper to keep. And I'm starting to think that might be exactly what's going on. They're trying to like bring in the new cast but still using the old girls to keep the audience engaged, but they're trying to like turn the focus on the new girls so that the old girls kind of pass the torch or
And
something
we
like
were
that.
all like, we don't drop it by who, she by whenever. It's tired. We don't care. We already know the outcome. Sheree, it ain't never coming. And Drew, we don't care. Like, okay. And then also, who said was Sonya comes with another blah blah blah. Sonya.
Oh, that was so embarrassing. Why did you do that, Sonya?
Listen, when she did that, I was sitting there because I was watching it, eating my gummies, and I was like, oh, God, I got secondhand embarrassment.
Yeah, I was
This is
embarrassed for her
after
too.
the
Like,
KFC thing, and I'm like, so you
please
sitting
stop
there
doing
telling us
that.
some blah
Sonya,
blah blah.
please don't ever do that ever again. We have enough, okay? Don't do it ever
Exactly.
again, please.
And after KFC, it's like, Sonya, can you not give us any more racial stereotypes? Like, please, please. The other people are watching. It's not just an inside talk. Stop it. Really quick, Anthony, how are you? Thank you for joining us on live. Anthony? I think you're muted.
You're on mute.
Hit the mic by yourself. Now hit it again. There. Now try it. I don't hear you. That's weird. Does anybody else hear Anthony? No.
No, I don't hear
Anthony,
him.
we can't hear you. Turn your microphone on. Go back out and then come back in and turn your microphone on. Let's see. Anthony's saying, yes, unmute. Let's see. He's going to come back in. Okay, Dragon Lord 72, what's your take on all this? Thank you for joining TisaTells, by the way.
Can you hear me?
We can hear you loud and clear.
First and foremost, I've been watching this show for a number of years, and like you, I was reviewing it, but I just got tired of all the animatronics and the, over the top ridiculous coonery and buffoonery.
Yeah.
I've been Team Twirl since the day she walked on. The first scene was a little bit sketchy for me when she was in the modeling agency telling Cynthia how to run her agency, but after that, I forgave her, right?
Yes.
But like I said in the comments, Kenya is too intelligent. She's too smart, and she's such a beautiful girl. And I think the fact that she is so aware and so much in love with herself, and I mean in love with herself as in her melanated skin is beautiful. And I think that's been a problem for years, that Kenya has the audacity to love herself the way she does, being a dark-skinned woman. I think that's been a major problem.
And she always points out she loves her chocolate
skin.
Yes.
That's been a major problem since day one. And I just, and she's always known who she is. And the fact that people have been trying to come for her is ridiculous. And what I find even more disturbing is, if you look back in some of the comments from years past, a lot of the hateful comments were coming from dark-skinned women just like her, as if it was some type of self-hate issue. But getting back to Andy, Andy doesn't like her because unlike Kenya, Portia and Nene, they ain't the brightest. And somebody said in the comments that uh, because of season 14, Portia's coming back is gonna be weakened. Let me tell you, ain't nobody. It ain't gonna be weak, strong, fast. Portia is not the brightest bulb in the electric company. You know what I'm saying? She ain't the brightest bulb. She ain't the sharpest knife in anybody's kitchen. I don't care where you're living at. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And the fact that she been going with Simon and all that. If I've never seen so much coonery and buffoonery in my entire life. And
Yes.
if not for Kenya and Candy, and a lot of people want Kenya and Candy friendship to be over. It's not gonna be over because they have a bond. And that bond is we don't like Phaedra, phony, fraudulent, can't win the case. You know what I'm saying? But before I go, I want to say I'm glad to be a part of the family. I've been watching you for a long time.
Oh,
I
thank
just
you.
I just don't join anybody's stuff because some people you like them in the beginning, then they say some crazy stuff. You oh, I got to get the hell out of here. This ain't what I'm. You know what I'm saying? That's why I've been watching. That's why I've been watching you for a long time. Between you and Kempire, y'all the best on YouTube. When I was doing my thing, I was, getting some traction, but I let it go. But anyway, I also want to say thank you for always being positive for Prince Harry and Meghan Markle because without you, these when you talk about the saltines, they dried up saltines. Thank you for being and defending them. But I got one last thing. I don't want to see Kenya and Candy be gone because they are the show. Sonya is fake and phony. Drew, there's something going on with her and her prophets and messiahs and mountaintops and all whatever the blank she be talking about.
Yeah.
And as far as Ralph is concerned, I mean, I don't see it happening. As a tarot reader, I see them getting a divorce 5 to 6 years. I just want to put it out there. Y'all have a good night. Love you. Peace.
Oh, thank you so much, Dragon Lord. Thank you. And I'll keep doing the Harry and Meghan because, listen, not to change the subject, I don't know why everybody's not supporting them more. But yes, keep doing it. Keep doing it. Thank you so much, Dragon Lord. And you brought up some good issues. Like he said, the fact that, listen, I don't know what's in Andy Cohen's heart. I do know he has a problem with Candace. I do know he has a problem with Kenya. He seems to have a problem with women that are not being berated, humiliated, or used up in their relationships. Andy seems to just not take nicely for him. He feels like they need to be humble. But if you do a Marlo and be like, my mom ain't never loved me, my man left me when I was 12, he's right there being your shoulder, being your advocate, being whatever. The Kenya thing, it might be a point that Kenya's just strong. Some people are just strong. And that's not to say that people...
I think that's his problem with Kenya. I think he's mad because Kenya always recovers. Like, Kenya, people have to give that to Kenya. Kenya was literally against everybody and she held her own on every reunion. The husbands, the wives, everybody went against her and she came right back at you. She always soared when it came to reunion. Kenya was like the queens of reunions because everybody was ready to attack her and she will always come out of that stuff unscathed, fine, still looking, still pretty, you know what I mean? And I think that's really what that's what Andy doesn't like about her, the fact that she can really hang amongst this and she's smart and she's intelligent and she can't be manipulated. I think that's what his problem is with her.
I definitely think that too, but I think also Bravo's in a conundrum where I get it. Andy Cohen at one point helped build Bravo. He did. He was the one that pulled shows out. Bravo used to be playing Weekend at Bernie's parts 1 through 6 the whole weekend. It was all Bravo, right?
And Queer Eye for the Straight Guy.
Exactly. He pulled these shows and said, I think this. And at one point, Bravo used Andy to have his finger on pop culture. Everything changes. Andy's not the same person he was. Before he was mixing it up and, getting it in at clubs and doing whatever. But now Andy is like a father of 2 children. And he doesn't want to go out and no new friends. And it's kind of like, it's been 14 years. Can we get somebody else who has their finger on pop culture? Because Andy's not even who he used to be. And there's nothing wrong with that. But can we get somebody who, because also Andy, what he thinks is acceptable, it's almost like the look of like a dinosaur. Like, you know, the way you watch movies from 15 years back, and you're like, they said what to who? It's just not acceptable anymore. It's not even funny or entertaining. It looks uncomfortable. Like, I feel uncomfortable sitting here with people, with a man being like, how dare you call me gay? Like, okay, like it's 2022. What's wrong with being
Oh my God,
gay?
thank you so much for bringing that up, because I had the same thought. There was
Yeah.
a reunion where Andy, and there's a theme here. The only time Andy ever said something about that was
Mhm.
when they were trying to make Kenya like the scapegoat for who was it?
Exactly.
Yeah, remember when Tootie was there with her husband
Yeah.
and they were
Yes.
like, he's a tap dancer? First of all, it was Nene. Nene the entire season kept calling him a tap dancer, and he's on
Yes.
Broadway, honey. So there was this alluding to that he's might be gay, or that, his sexuality is up for question. And at the reunion, Andy decided to like have this moment where he was gonna like he was gonna like scorn all of them because they were all trying to make it seem like it was Kenya. Kenya started that.
Yes.
And Andy took that moment to let it known that he doesn't appreciate that. What's wrong? What if he's gay?
Yeah, but now
And it's
he's
like, but
all up
Andy,
Marlo's behind, and Marlo said the F word.
right? But let's be
Exactly.
clear though. Literally, Real Housewives of Atlanta is the only show where every season one of the husbands are accused of being gay. Like this happens
It's
literally every
weird.
season.
Mm-hmm.
So
Right.
why do you pick and choose when you have a problem with this? It seems like this is a part of your little formula. It has to come out every season that somebody's husband is gay.
Oh, well, let's
Betty,
not forget Candace on Real Housewives of Potomac. Remember when Mia, because Candace called her Bigfoot, Mia tried to say that Candace was transphobic, and it was just like, she just said you have big feet. Candace is not. And they were trying to
Marlo
like,
wears a size 13.
yeah, but they were trying to get Candace fired too off of that mess. Whenever it's just like, but that's not Candace. And if that is, you gave Portia a show. It's kind of like, listen, I get it. Bravo has a problem with that, but I would just think that right now, for a whole line of questioning at a reunion in 2022, at the end of the day, you act like he said you were half Ewok or you were out there with the pigs in the barnyard. What is wrong with being gay? Why is this a conversation? Again, the conversation said whether you're cheating on your wife, but just the fact that you might like men, okay.
I said I was going. Well, can y'all hear me?
Yeah.
I said I was going, but Andy has a problem with black excellence. That's his main problem, because he helped build Nene and stuff like that, and to her own detriment, she is the cause of her not being on that show. Because one thing I know about life, you don't bite the hand that feeds you, and anytime you think you larger than the person or thing that made you, you will always lose. You just will. Having said
people who didn't have anything going for themselves, he likes people that he can build.
Yeah, he likes people he can manipulate.
Right. And let me finish. And also, now that these people like Candy always had it going on, but now that Kenya's doing her multi-million-dollar hair care product it's about to go even bigger, from what I've been told in the next couple of years. Now he's upset, like, oh, all this black excellence. It's almost like they want everybody on Atlanta to give recognition. And Andy has like black men.
Sabotaging the show.
And ain't nothing wrong with that, but I think there's something about not, I'm gay, but not every black man is gay, and I understand and I respect that. Yeah. And most of my friends are straight black men, believe it or not, and they love me to death. But we know that it ain't going nowhere. But I think Andy is so convinced that every black man in Atlanta is a homosexual, and they want him, and they come on the show. And I'm gonna tell you something. When there used to be a show called Fashion Queens or Fashion whatever. He used to dog. He used to dog those. I forgot their names, but the two gentlemen that was on the show. Yeah, he used to dog them out when they would be saying stuff. He would cut them short as if you the superior gay, and because he's a white gay against black gays, and it happens all the time. And for somebody in the gay community, let me tell you, racism exists in the gay community. You know what I'm saying? I'm keeping it all the way real, so I don't mean to take nobody's time.
Listen, thank you for sharing that with us, because we would have no way of knowing that. There is something I will say with Andy, and like it's weird in the way that, because I remember when Portia dragged Kenya, and it was in that book, like Not All Diamonds Are Rose, that Housewives book, And Andy said at first he was shocked and he was like, oh my God, like Portia should be fired. He said, until the ladies explained to me that for a Black woman, when you stand up, and that's the real sign of aggression, and Portia was just reacting, and I get it. Nobody liked Kenya back then, and everybody like went around like, you know, with Portia and went away from what she was saying. But I do find it odd that it's like, okay, Andy, you're not Black. I get that. But it's like me being around like my friends that are like Indian American, right? My friend can tell me something like, no, this is the way it goes in the Indian community. But I would never sit up here on my thing and be like, well, let me tell you what happened in the Indian community. Because at the end of the day, it was only my friends. I don't know every Indian person. And if Indian people told me this, and then other Indian people are like, that's not the way it goes. Who am I to sit there and be like, you're a liar, because my friends told me that's the way things go. So to your point of Andy and like the way he keeps it in a weird way, he takes his Black friends, which is Atlanta's word on how things go in the Black community. Yeah, it's a point of reference. It's an information data point, but you cannot take 8 women and use their perspective to the point of when other Black women come and tell you that is not true. Like
he knows it's not true.
Yeah,
come on.
Here's the little.
I agree.
Here's the little tea. Andy is from St. Louis, and I lived in St. Louis for almost 20 years. And the reason, from people I know that know him very closely, say the reason why he would never do Housewives of St. Louis, because there is so much dirt going on with him and his family in St. Louis. That's why he would never do one in St. Louis. And I'm like, well, he's exposing everybody else's dirt. I don't understand what the problem is. He got all that money, you know. But yes. So.
I have a problem with a white older male hosting any Housewives reunion. I think it's very ridiculous the way the women have to sit up there and kiss his ass in order to keep their job that he is not in control of. I think that that's very problematic, and I don't know why other people don't see that.
Yes, sis. Tell it.
Tisa?
that's true.
It's me, Love the Bible from Lipstick Alley.
Everybody said I should love the Bible.
Hey.
Really quick.
Can you hear me,
Anthony
Tisa?
Buchanan.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you really quick. Anthony, are you talking?
Yes, I'm talking to you, Tisa. This is my first
Hey,
time.
what's going on, Anthony?
Thank you for reading my
Welcome.
DMs every day, Tisa. My IG is at Anthony's Country. So I gotta ask you 2 questions. Number 1, are you wanted to be the RHOA new reunion host? And number 2, is it time for Andy Cohen to retire for good?
Listen, honestly, I don't know if he needs to retire for good, but he doesn't.
Because
need to
you're
be on
so good,
Housewives.
Tisa. You're so
No.
good. We love
No,
you
here's
too.
the
You're so
thing.
beautiful.
Oh, thank you. I actually think the future, as you guys can tell, is on YouTube, TikTok, podcasts, on demand stuff. I think is the future. I do think that with Andy, I will say this: when you host something, your job is to infuse it with energy and excitement. Make me care, even if I don't care. For Andy to be sitting there and the whole time, I'm like, you are ruining this to me. Andy, get out of here. Just get up, walk off the stage, and just let the girls talk. I do think it's time for him. He don't need to host. I don't know what he was going through. Maybe he was having a bad week. You know, you never know. Maybe
He is an older male in his 50s, and he's a white male, and I think that power structure has diminished. And I think everyone knows that. But the fact that he can still sit, even though he's a gay male, in his maleness and have power over these women is a problem. And I don't know why no one sees that.
But you know what the funny thing is? Like you pointed out, an interesting thing. The world has changed since 2019.
Facts.
He did
Don't forget the
feel,
war
and
with
I'm not
Ukraine,
even
Tisa.
joking. For the
The
first
400 years are up, but that's another story for another day.
Yeah,
Don't
but
forget
the
the war
thing
in Ukraine, Tisa. Don't forget the war in Ukraine.
What's that?
Don't forget the war in Ukraine and World War III. I'm too scared.
Well, exactly. Thank you. So there's a war going on. There's all this stuff. The world is completely different. And for the first time watching Reunion, I did feel uncomfortable that a man was shushing grown women and this and that. And can you lower your voice? And I was just like, ew, I don't
But
like
he's been doing that for years. He's done it with New York. He's done it with Beverly Hills. I just think it's inappropriate for him to have that position.
True. No, here's the thing. Sharon's World says most of us have white male bosses that we have to skirt around. Nothing different, to be honest.
I think this is completely different.
But this is about entertaining. when the white male boss is saying, sit there and be boring, and you driving everything into the ground, the other bosses need to say, get them out of here. It's completely different. And honestly, even in business, things have changed.
Especially when he's promoting the negative stereotypes. Sheree is
Right.
dating a felon, and Marlo is a felon. They want that image to be black women.
Well, hold on. And Andy said, ooh, I heard he's at 10. Even
Sexual
after Kenya was like, he's a narcissist, he's doing this, he's doing that. I mean, I feel so sorry for Melody that she has 4 kids with that man. I'm being dead serious. Like, Melody, you don't deserve that, right? But I will say, I agree with you. It's like, it is negative stereotypes left and right. Like Sheree.
And he's holding on to them for dear life, even when it's not there, it's not happening organically. And he's like, no, we need someone's husband who's gay. That has to happen. Somebody needs a cheating man. Like, it's like, even when it's not happening, it's like they want to inject it into the storyline.
Yeah, it's weird.
And the thing is like, Judge Justice here. To me, it's like he wants to like destroy like our image of ourselves.
Yes.
Like it has to be like a cheat, and they can't just be happy. They just can't be having just issues, just paying the bills and like making
why
it work.
can't Kenya and Candy just be lighthearted? They're OGs. They should be lighthearted. Why are they trying to destroy that? They don't need to bring a storyline. They are the moments.
Well, as a gay man, I don't know who said it about, Andy, as a gay man having these power over these women. I do understand what you're saying, because it is a bad look. Me personally, I adore women. I've had 13 aunties. A lot of them have passed away since then. So a lot of what I learned in life has come from a woman. Everything, math, how to pay bills, just basic stuff that has enriched my life. So when I look at the show, I can agree with you as a gay man that there is some power control that he's had. I don't know if it was a woman in his life who affected him or whatever. Maybe he didn't have that the nourishment and encouragement the way I've had it with my aunties and all my 5 sisters and stuff like that. So there is some type of control, and he does need to let go. There needs to be a woman, somebody to take over, like Tissa was saying. And I've always said that YouTubers are the new stars. They're the new millionaires. They're the new influencers. It's just it's just keeping it all the way real. He needs to relinquish that power. He's made enough money. He needs to go back to being the lovable guy he was when we first met him. I think he's out of control. But like I said, I'm gonna get back to the Atlanta thing. Him and these black people on Atlanta, it's some type of control, psychological, mental. He don't talk to the ladies in Beverly Hills like that unless it's Dorit and Renna, and Renna and Dorit. Nobody like them for real.
When I lived in Manhattan, and I've lived in some extremely expensive places in Manhattan and in Atlanta, and I currently reside in Buckhead. I can tell you that New York, Manhattan is the most racist place I've ever been in the world. And I go to Monaco, I go to France, I go to London. Manhattan is very segregated and very racist. When you encounter an Andy Cohen, you see what it is if you're aware, if you're enlightened. And I don't think that people can look at him and not see that. He has an issue with strong, Black, intelligent women. You see the way he treats Candace. You see the way he treats Kenya. If you go to Manhattan and you live on the Upper East Side or Upper West Side like I did, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about, right, Tisa? New York is the most segregated place in the world, one of them. Am I lying? Manhattan.
Manhattan, yeah, not the whole of New York City.
Not the whole of New York, but when I go to Saks Fifth Avenue, when I go to Cipriani, when I go to Bergdorf's, I don't see a lot of people that's melanated like me. I don't.
Listen,
yeah. No, they've had that area on lockdown for a long time, and they're gatekeeping it. So Black people are definitely not going to be in those neighborhoods, and if they are, they don't want you there.
Exactly. When I used to go to the grocery store, I used to get followed around the grocery store.
Yeah, listen, all I'm saying about New York is you saw the way the Real Housewives of New York acted when Ebony came on the screen.
They didn't even have a reunion.
They lost their mind to the point. They destroyed their own show because they didn't want to share the stage with that woman. Her very existence, after the gaslighting didn't work, after the bullying didn't work, all the time, and then they just ended up destroying the whole show. So yes, I do believe that is the quintessential Upper East Side.
Yep.
New York experience.
Tisa,
I
say
want
something,
to.
The
Tisa.
rich white people in New York City, they don't want to hang out with black people who are not the help. You got to
Facts.
get
That's why
help
the reload of
to
Sex
come
in the
around.
City
Hold on,
failed because
Anthony.
the
Yes.
diversity is
Or
not
somebody like
accurate.
Marlo who plays up the stereotypes so she can get handouts.
Well,
Yeah,
it's
what
the
did you
same.
say about
It's the
her?
same. It's the same
As a
thing with gay.
strategy?
It's the same thing with gays. You know what I'm saying? We go to certain area, black gays, we gonna be looked at the same way. Meanwhile, the white gays, they basically in the same community, but because they white in a white community, they looking at us funny, just like the heterosexual, bigoted, racist, or white people. So it goes both ways. Trust
For
me.
Yeah.
sure, for sure.
Definitely. Really quick, you guys. Let's let Anthony, and then we'll go to Malcolm, then Jeji, then come back to Betty, of course, Dragon Lord, and Love the Bible. Anthony, you had a question?
Oh, yes, indeed, Tisa. I got a big but important question. Will Bravo have to reinvent itself before it gets shut down anytime soon due to effects of streaming and this and that, blah, blah, blah?
But you know, it's a good question. You asked the best questions. Bravo
Thank you,
actually.
Tisa.
No problem,
Because, you know,
Anthony.
I try to be smart. And by the way, I don't want to make it as an excuse, Tisa. I'm autistic. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That's why I told you that
Welcome.
privately. Yeah.
Yeah, welcome. I have many autistic people in my family. Welcome, 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 welcome. Thank you so much for coming to the show. I will say you do always ask me the best questions. And I think when it comes to Bravo being shut down, Bravo's problem, Bravo's problem is that they they remind me of Bravo reminds me of Blockbuster when Netflix came out, or was it Blockbuster? Remember when you had to go and get like a DVD from the store, right? Or those
Oh,
little red
red
boxes.
box.
Yes,
Yeah.
thank you, red box. The one that I always owed them so many late fees. But you had to go and get the red box and do this and that. And then everybody's like, yo, Netflix is the future. And everybody's just like, it's not the future. Nobody wants to binge watch. They like it being metered out every week and they like this and that. I do believe that Bravo is trying to move out of that direction with Peacock, but I really honestly think Bravo's problem is they found a recipe that worked, right? But you know how you bake a cake, like a Duncan Hines cake, and it lets you
Yeah.
know that when you are on high altitude, you have to use different directions. I feel like Bravo is trying to bake a cake in high altitude, and they're still using that same old recipe. And it's like that recipe doesn't work anymore. You got to add more oil, less water, and you got to bake it. It's like they refuse to evolve, and because of that, they can't. Every show, you know, they're freaking out. Every show, the views are becoming lower and lower and lower. Even on YouTube, I used to watch the Bravo recaps on YouTube. You guys, I'm sure you guys remember the heyday, right?
Mhm.
And now even the interest has dropped so much and they don't know what to do. But every single time someone tells them, well, why don't you have a more diverse, even Candy tried to tell them, why don't you have like more people of color, black people, India, like why don't you have different races, faces, different viewpoints, working as producers, working as this, doing the storyboards, doing this, doing that. They don't want to. Bravo is the same people that literally didn't even have diverse cast. If you're in New York, you had to be white. If you're Atlanta, you had to. And when they tried to diversify, they're so bad at it, right? That they couldn't even get that going. So Bravo is just, to me, it's just the way they think about things. They're going to need an overhaul. But right now, they are still hoping that it's a problem with the talent, but it's not the talent. We all know it's
But-
not. It's
But
not.
Tisa, sorry, will Bravo have no choice but to become a streaming channel, like no more cable in the near future?
You know what? Bravo's already moving to Peacock. I don't know what's going to happen to Bravo actually, because again, I
mean,
do think that
the older people are watching cable, and the younger people just switching
Tisa,
to
you know
know
what
Netflix.
I think? I told Brooke Ashley this in her chat box. I'm sorry to interrupt you guys, but I think that this show has found success with people that have been famous in the 90s and famous has some amount of fame. I do not think that wealthy people who are just self-made people will, subject themselves to Bravo editing. And I think that the formula that worked, it has to elevate. But I think that if people come in trying to make a moment and trying to have drama, it's not going to be as great. I think the drama that Sheree had with the will I or won't I pull it off was better than someone pulling someone's hair. I think they want to go
Right.
a love and
Mhm.
hip hop sensationalized route. And I think that when we live in a 24-hour news cycle like CNN, MSNBC, we become so accustomed to seeing maybe someone shot or something happen happening that's really brazen. And we really don't realize that women over 40 can be more chill. We don't always need a hashtag, you know?
Yeah.
Or a read. It can just be some drama like, oh, will the dress get here in time for the show?
Yeah, listen, I agree. And we wanted more lighthearted drama. I actually never even liked the violence and all this other stuff. I thought it was disgusting, even no matter what the show was. But I'll say this, Bravo wanted that drama. There was a bunch of lighthearted drama that could have happened. Even the reunions, if no heavy drama happened in the reunions, you guys very easily could have did a director's cut, funny moments, expanded on stuff. There's so many creative ways that we actually have people that were young and creative and actually loved the platform that they could actually give ideas, but Bravo won't do that. Bravo won't even take Andy Cohen off a hosting reunion. Really quick though, Lisa Peek. Lisa Peek, thank you so much for the super chat. Lisa Peek said, did you see his response to Todd saying Candy had the most money out of everyone there? Oh, I saw that response. No, Andy didn't appreciate that. And Marlo, ready to suck up. No, I think Andy has it. Andy has the most money. Like, Marlo, shut up. But Marlo,
do you guys really believe that Marlo dealt with a billionaire? Do you guys really believe that Candy's worth $32 million? I don't believe that.
I do.
I don't believe that. I've known these people for like 20 years. I don't believe that. Maybe 10 million, but not 32 million. Maybe now, but not $32 million.
I don't think that Bravo.
Candy is very successful and she doesn't show her wealth. That's the thing about Candy. Candy is very down to earth. So she is not going to be obvious how much money she has just by looking at her, because she's still very much rooted in her beginnings. That's what I think about Candy. But Candy is extremely successful, and she's one of those people you will never know how much money she has.
I think 32 million now. I don't think 32 million when she came on the show, and she's my second fave. And I do not believe that Marlo had a long, drawn-out relationship with a billionaire. I don't believe that. She may have dealt with a billionaire. In Atlanta, women deal with a lot of men that are a trick and treat. They're very generous. That, Georgia State has the number one sugar babies, But I don't think that Marlo had this long drawn out relationship, because right before that, she was a bartender and cracking cards with boosters. So I don't think that she had that wealth like people think.
Yeah, I don't believe that about Marlo either. I'm with you on that. I don't believe that about Marlo either.
Baby, I've ran so many pockets across this world that I can tell you that Marlo has not been in the presence of multiple billionaires like that. She may have had one for a short season, but I just don't believe that.
Yeah, I know girls like Marlo, and I have a theory about her, but I don't think we can say it on Tisa's channel. But
well, I tell you what, Nene Leakes was new money, and she showed it, and that was another thing that was embarrassing to Black women. I mean, all that new money, she was just acting a fool.
She had zero funds because Lisa Wu rented her residence for her when she was on the show.
I honestly enjoyed the new money thing, because it was all the things that I would do if I had came into so many millions overnight. Telling people to kiss my butt and do this and run up things and have a good old time.
Yeah, so, but she's the OG and she's not pretty. And I think her biggest issue is that she's not the pretty girl. And she has an issue, and she comes at life and people that she's not the pretty girl, but she's going to make sure you see who she is. But she doesn't realize that God didn't give her beauty like that because she doesn't have humility. She can't handle beauty.
I wouldn't say Nene's not the pretty girl. I think
she's not the pretty girl. She's not the beauty queen. Is that wrong to say that?
But that was her big issue with Kenya. She was so mad at Kenya.
Complexion. She has a great body.
That's why Nene didn't like Kenya, because Kenya came on the show with that personality. I'm gonna be beautiful, bitch, and I'm gonna read you. And Nene was like, "Oh hell no, not on my show. Not on my show. You're not gonna do that."
You're right.
I got a question, y'all. What would happen if the Real Housewives get canceled for her? Would you feel happy or disappointed?
We're gonna be happy and find another show to go to, because we got lives, and we gonna make it, and we just gonna find another one.
Good answer. You said we got lives and we're gonna make it. Well, that's the thing about Bravo. We're sitting here ready for. I don't care if it comes on TLC. I don't care if it comes on YouTube. We are waiting for the next show to get us excited. I do want to say this though. I actually believe that Marlo was with a billionaire. Now, hear me out though.
Temporarily.
Well, no, here's the thing. I don't even think temporarily. I think, remember Marlo went to that wine, that
I know these people, so I'll
and
just say that.
She puts some grapes in her mouth, and she's like, trying to be sexy. And I was like, ew, like, right? I believe that Marlo might be a plaything for a billionaire.
Yeah, of course, Tisa, of
You're
course.
not number one. You're not even number 26. But every
So
now
that's
and
a
then,
trick. But ain't
he's
that a
at
trick?
Atlanta.
She's not for sale. She's for rent. Like L'Archive. It's not Le Archive. It's not Le Archive. It's L'Archive on Francais. I'm just saying.
But again, maybe she's doing something with, like she's talking about with Paris, whoever it is, she got in good with them. Even Andy was like, yeah, you know the president of Fendi. And I'm like, but Andy, why don't you ask her, how do you know the president of Fendi? You live in Atlanta. How? And don't tell me it's because you buy so much Fendi that she has to know you. We seen
Marlo's job is the housewives. Mumbles, Mugshot, Marlo, Mojangles, the miserable is a housewife. A friend of the housewives, her job is the housewives. That's where she gets money for. She was so messed up out here in these streets that Candy got her a show on the other network. She is a housewife cast member. That's where she gets her money from. And I don't see why people don't see that. The way that Marlo makes her money is by being on this show. If you have a paid in full home and you already have luxury, you have a luxury vehicle, and you have excellent credit, you can make $100,000 a year or $100,000 period stretch for 10 years. Because all you have to do is like go out with people, or you have to pay
100,000 stretch for 10 years. That can't return.
No. I'm telling you, I don't know. Maybe over the past 10 years, they've given her $1 million on Housewives. Maybe she already had $1 million too. And I think Marlo has excellent credit. I think that, and she said it several times. She said it on the interview with Fat Joe last year. I think that she is able to take a little and make it look like a lot.
Girl, I 100% agree with you. Let's not forget, Marlo is the girl that buys fashions and then returns them. Like she wears them on TV and then she returns them back.
And she steals on the Greece cash trip. We know.
She's a girl
we all can do that if we all can do that if we go on realreal.com or whatever that place is.
And she knows so many boosters who crack cards.
Exactly. Marlo is a girl who's savvy. She's a street girl. She's savvy. She knows how to move money around. She knows how to move things around.
But in that brief period, she did probably make a billionaire, but not long term. Not long term. I don't believe it at all.
That's why she's still in that townhouse. That's why she's still in that townhouse.
All your bills are paid and your house is paid, and someone gave you 100,000. Can we be real? You would be calling your parents 5 months later, like, so I'm down to
what I'm saying, Tisa, is that she is employed by Bravo. Marlo has been on our television for like 7 out of the past 10 years.
Where does that 100? Even if she makes 100,000 a year, or even 500,000 after taxes, I assume she's paying taxes. $500,000 is like 280 with Marlo's closet. Where's that coming
but Marlo's
from?
closet is older clothes. Marlo is
Right,
not draped in a
exactly.
lady. She may have a piece here or there. Her clothing, she was very strategic in the clothing that she bought. The clothing that she bought was some were labels, some were very expensive Hermes pieces and things like that. She does not have to build a wardrobe every season. She only has to add to her wardrobe. She was very savvy in the way that she spoke.
Girl, you better tell it.
Depending on what Goodwill or thrift shop you run into in any city, you may find a vintage Versace jacket or something like that. I mean, you just never know where she going to get this stuff. Anybody can tell you she paid X amount of dollars, but how many times have you walked into some place like, wow, this is real Gucci or this is real Louis Vuitton? It ain't this season or the last 5 seasons, but it's still that brand. And who's to say she ain't been shopping in those places, or better yet, paying people to go in those places so she wouldn't have to, so she could keep up the reputation of being this type of fashionista.
There's a Betty. I don't know if you know this person in the city, but there's a person who gets Angela Yee's stuff and DJ Envy stuff, and you know they have money. Angela Yee has over 1,000 pair of shoes, but a lot of the people who get their stuff is boosted. I think the girl, her name begins with a T. I think she was.
You got the tea, girl. You got the tea. I was just about to talk about that.
Yeah, big facts. That girl is a booster. Go ahead, Betty. I'm sorry.
Girls that do stuff like this. We just do. There's girls that boost.
I'm just saying.
They hang out
She's
with
locked up, I
celebrities.
think, though.
Pause, DM me.
I think Marlo is one of those girls.
For research purposes.
She's a booster and a scammer.
Angela Yee is on a nationally syndicated show. DJ Envy has a 20-30 year career. These people get stuff from boosters. I'm telling you what I know. I know 1 degree of separation. That's all I'll say. But I'm telling you what I know. And Marlo is a stunt queen. The brother who was speaking in the LGBT community, he knows about stunt queens. And I'm not just trying to stereotype your community, but you know, a lot of people will take a little and make it look like a lot. And Marlo she has a good baseline and she has publicity. So people will do anything for her. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like, think about it. Marlo doesn't, she back in the day she did, but she doesn't travel the places that you travel.
But what's the name
Just
of
like you said, Simon and Portia be in Costa Rica. They don't be in Monaco, right?
Yeah, only boosters I know are boosted TJ Maxx and Marshall. They ain't doing me no good. I'm just kidding.
No, they have some high level boosters in the city who drape celebrities who we see on the news.
That's facts. That's facts.
It's just a fact.
JT from the City Girl was one of those girls that she had to go sit down while she was a celebrity for that. This is a very real thing that happens. And I feel like Marlo is one of those girls. No, this is really real, Tisa. I just don't know if you want to talk about this on your show, but this is
okay. I won't say anything else.
This is real, but she's spilling tea.
More interesting than reunion.
She's spilling tea.
At first I was like, pass the name of the booster. Then I was like, wait, this sounds like.
Well, let me tell you guys this. Go and watch the episode that Remy Ma was on with the Breakfast Club, and she said, "Oh, y'all know," and she said the girl's name, and that was the booster's name. But if you be on the alley like that, you already know this tea. I'm telling you, it's real tea.
Another one. The dude from Love and Hip Hop, he's a booster. That he's a celebrity stylist, but he's really a booster. The one, what is his name? The one that's so messy all the time, and he has like dreads. Oh, I think he's Tiara Marie's cousin. I don't remember his name. He's been on a lot of those shows. He's been on Basketball Wives. He calls himself a celebrity stylist. He's a booster. He's a credit card cracker, and he provides designer clothes to celebrities.
Fab Stylist did the same thing
go
too.
to Lipstick Alley and find it. I stay off of Lipstick Alley. Y'all not gonna be eating me up, making me crying in my
I stay out there too because I'm such a bitch out there. I have to stay off of there.
Listen, I never went on there. Listen, Lipstick Alley.
I'm giving you some props on there, so you know.
Everybody I know reads it. No, listen, everybody I know reads it. I stay off of there. Y'all are gonna have me crying into my Wheaties. I was like,
Yeah, somebody just said it. Zell, that's his name. Zell Swag. That's him.
Oh, really? I've heard that name before. But no, so yeah, moving on. I just wanted to say this. Marlo's dress looked like Fraggle Rock. Did you guys watch Fraggle Rock when you were little?
Not Fraggle Rock, baby.
Am I lying? Google it.
I am choking on my wine. Sis.
Fraggle Rock.
It did not look like Fraggle Rock.
Yes,
it looked like Dora the Explorer.
Fraggle Rock.
Yeah. It looked like Dora the Explorer when she had her quinceañera. Like, nope, that's what it looked like. Marlo's dress.
Hi, I'm Dora. I'm Dora the Explorer.
Yeah, Marlo's dress looked, I was like, maybe it looks better when she's sitting, but then I was sitting, I'm like, that also looks stupid. It looked like you could have, you know what it reminded me of? Remember when Theo hired Denise to make a Gordon Gartrell shirt?
Yes.
Yeah.
Y'all remember Gordon Gartrell, the Cosby Show, when she did it, and all you heard was Denise, and he came upstairs and was standing there.
Yeah, I'm team.
Yellow and black.
The shirt was all angled differently, and Denise had completely messed it up. And Theo was going on a date with Justine, his dream girl. Yeah, that's what her dress looked like. Like,
she looked better than Sonya, and that's not saying much because Sonya looked absolutely horrible. She looked like she had on like a half a straitjacket, you know.
I did not like that dress so short. It made her look so hard. And Sonya already is very angular. She's a gorgeous woman, right? But she's very angular and she's very like narrow hipped and like very muscular. So like if it was me, I would try to get her something with velvet and lush and something to soften her up. You know, not that you know what I'm saying. She's beautiful, but it's like you don't need all those angles and the bob and the contour. It's like, Sonya, let's soften you up.
She actually has like a great body, like you said, but she needs something that has more volume. And because her body can carry it like a model, you know?
Yeah,
I'm team twirl
like a model. Exactly.
I'm team twirl all day, but I was so disappointed in that dress Kenya had. I was like, no.
Listen.
No, Kenya always shows up. She looks great.
I like that dress. I think it looked better in motion. I like the way the shoes, were the same color as the reflection of the sequins. Candy's dress looks so pretty to me. I love that color. I love the velvet. I love the shape it was giving.
Me too.
Drew looked a mess in her pictures, but I thought she looked very pretty sitting on the couch. So basically it was Sonya and Marlo that were a disappointment. Sheree, I loved Sheree's dress, and I loved all that she was giving him. She came on stage, and I was like, oh, wow.
Sheree could have had best dress if she fixed her hair. Her hair did
If
not
she
match
didn't
her
borrow
outfit.
Kim's wig, yeah.
You mean that dress? You mean that dress she got from Sheen.com or .org or whichever one?
Sheree looks very sexy.
That Sheen was sitting. It was fitting. I loved it, especially the top. I would have been.
It was the hair, I think. I think the hair.
Yeah, no, her hair. I think her hair ruined her outfit.
Those birds.
Honestly, I really do not like Sonya. I just want to say that.
The birds in the cage was dressed better than Sonya was. Them birds in the cage was.
Yes, Sonya is absolutely ridiculous. Her husband was absolutely aggressive. And it's funny to me that Sheree can call a black woman, a beauty queen, aggressive, but Ross wasn't aggressive. I guess you have to punch in her face to be aggressive if you're a male. You have a penis.
What about the weirdness where Andy had the whole reunion? You had zero questions for what's her name? For Marlo sending the kids away. But then with Drew and Ralph saying that he didn't want to adopt Drew's kid that he had raised, and Andy was like, so tell me about the book deal. What? Like, is it okay? Like, this is perfectly horrible behavior. Is this what we doing? Like the Real Housewives, it's okay to make gay jokes. And on top of that, it's okay. Who cares? The story isn't the fact that you don't want to adopt a baby you raised since a kid. The story isn't that you sent your nephews away. The story is Marlo needs some me time. And Drew didn't know that Ralph was writing a book. He just kept going like you're a family now. Don't you care about children being mistreated? It was odd to me. Like, I don't know.
You know, I'm Team Twirl, but I'm just so disappointed that Kenya, my girl, didn't ask him would he forgive Kathy Griffin the way he wanted her to forgive Marlo.
Yes.
Well, we all know Kenya.
Come on.
Kenya ain't got, listen.
I really don't like Andy.
Listen, if Kenya ever acts that, we already know that she'd
be fired.
No, she's literally already been like, so I'm marrying a billionaire and I'm retiring. Kenya, it's just like, remember the way Portia was acting when she thought Simon had billions and she was just
maybe let the streets tell her Simon has nothing.
Listen, and bragging about we're gonna have three weddings and a funeral for the haters. One at the overseas properties, one at the house in Nigeria. Right?
Portia need to go somewhere and never come back. Just don't come back, Portia.
She's not coming back. Do you think she's coming back?
This is so embarrassing.
Here's the thing. If she wants to come back, she even started that lie about them offering her $5 or $6 million. If they do throw her a bone, she'll come back. But right now, they're just like, how? Because the problem with Portia is she's super disruptive. But this was the network execs, right? Mm-hmm. She's super disruptive. But when they gave her the chance to carry the show on her own, she couldn't. She's not a Nene. Do you know what I'm saying? Right. Kenya, if she felt like it, could step into those roles of being a Nene. But Kenya's like, y'all ain't doing this because you want me to step into the role of being a Nene as a villain.
You know what Kenya always says? It's an ensemble cast. She never deviates from that.
But it is. But we saw when Portia was the nexus of that ensemble cast, it just never worked.
Yeah, we had to watch her lust over a man in fake Chanel and that
and
was
she called herself the moment, but you weren't even the moment on your own show. Dennis was.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So it's like there's all that happening. But then at the end of the day, for her to come back, it's like you got to think they have a good recipe right now that works. Marlo needs some tweaking, but the rest of the cast kind of gels. So the second season can maybe be better. It's like, do we want to bring somebody in who's a disruptor in to disrupt? I don't know. We'll see what happens with that. But right now, she has not been offered anything. Who knows if she's coming back? Drew did say they're starting this film in October, so we're gonna know sooner or later whether she was invited back. You know,
I think that Portia has never been a good fit for the show, and I believe that she was only on for such a long time because she was anti-Black, intelligent American beauty queen. And she was against that. And I do not think that she ever added anything to the show. I think she had contention with everyone that she came in contact with. she was not strong enough to be a Nene. She was a production pawn and a puppet. And I do not see why she has a fan base. And I always say this on Lipstick Alley. Portia doesn't have fans. She just has people that don't like Kenya. That's why they don't buy her shit.
Oh my God, yes.
You want to know why? Because she's still at the station waiting for the Underground Railroad car to pick her up.
I would never
Right? Listen,
I had no idea Portia had fans too, because Portia gives nothing on that show, in my opinion. She just,
nothing.
She just shows up to be, the big booty girl. But that's about it. Her first season was good because we got like a storyline. Okay, you a new wife, your husband is controlling. That was interesting. But then she got divorced right away, so that wasn't there anymore. And then after that, I don't know what Portia was giving me. Nothing. I didn't pay attention to Portia.
But see, here's my problem. When Cordell divorced Portia, like I said, we don't know what he was abusive. He was doing
not.
her. He was keeping her restricted.
He was not abusive.
But hold on. But see, here's my problem. The first time she finds, I'm an independent woman now. Now you start calling the man, he's gay, he's this, he's that. I mean, why? Because it just didn't work out. And again, she played into that whole stereotype of all the black men in Atlanta have to be gay. You know what I'm saying? And I just had a problem with that. Like, maybe he just realized that you ain't the brightest bulb in the store when he was looking for a chandelier. You know what I'm saying? It just didn't happen. So now you accusing him of being gay. Why is that the first thing they go to try to bring down a black man?
Never trust a woman who will willingly sleep with R. Kelly. She's a loser.
With R. Kelly, she was finding a baby with him and was bragging to everybody that she was his girlfriend.
Yeah,
Portia don't even have enough sense to keep that to herself. Why did
you
tell us that?
Went in on her with the exotic hair, with the baby hair, that she was like exotic. She was like other black girls.
She got not one lick of sense. She walked in with her. This is back in the 90s where things were very segregated, right? We've been all over, so we know baby hairs is something very common to Black community, Afro-Latino community, but definitely Black community, right? Especially back then. Portia had the nerve to say she was walking in with jam in her edges, slicked down a 36-inch weave, talking about, I looked excited. Sad to say, but I didn't look like a regular Black girl. I was like, wow, who knew that Portia
she looked like every bit of Arsenio Hall, so she needs to stop.
Yo, sis, oh my God. I'm sorry. I'm like hollering over here.
Listen, it's like she literally thought she walked in looking like Fallon Peanut, like Portia.
Yes, Fallon Peanut is a chocolate exotical.
But even with Fallon, though, you gotta look at her to be like, oh wait, are you half Asian? Do you see what I'm saying? It's like, you gotta look at her to be like, oh wait, you're half Asian, okay. But even then, Fallon don't walk in being like, I'm exotic. The fact that Portia said, I'm not like those other, and then had the nerve to say that men were like, and
then had the nerve to say that her dad turned heads when he walked into the room. And I'm like, girl, we're just a bucket of dishonesty, right?
Listen,
Portia was talking about her being a light-skinned girl. Her being light-skinned is the same thing as being an exotica and all that stuff.
Listen, Portia said, but don't blame her. She feels bad for saying it because all women are beautiful. But the men that dated her used to tell her that. I said,
she's not beautiful.
Looked at her dumb butt and was like, girl, what are you, Indian?
Beauty has never known Portia.
Her mom got another one. Like, Portia, shut up. That was a funny book.
Portia is not beautiful, and she is she's like an after picture that some women can be like, but she's not a Giselle, a Eva, Cynthia, Kenya, like that. Like, God gives people certain things that they can handle. Tisa, you know this as you walk through the world as a beautiful woman. Everyone can't handle beauty. When people who are beautiful, you ever notice that they're kind of like self-deprecating? They don't always play it up. Like, Kenya can be a little goofy, so can Cynthia. I think that people don't realize that they can't handle the gift of beauty. Like, everyone can't handle a banging body. Like, if you give them a banging body, they'd be a stripper or a prostitute. Well, there's levels to it.
I'm waiting for my turn. once I get this pandemic 25 pounds off, I'm be like, what do I want to bet?
I have something to say. I do not dislike Sonya enough to like Drew. I know you said she's like the annoying little sister. I'm just getting all my things out from the whole season I've been listening. But I do not like Drew. I think Drew is very fake. And I think that Drew is very corny. Like, she looks like she wears lugs. Like, she has a TJ Maxx spirit to me. There's nothing glamorous about her. And I'm just not
Let me
impressed.
put myself on mute because I'm about to be
And I apologize to everyone in the room wearing a pair of lugs, Lugz, but it's just like something about her is very pedestrian and it's very, of the people. And that's not Real Housewives.
She has a TJ Maxx spirit. You know
She
what
does.
though? Drew.
Or if you're in the UK, TK Maxx,
No, she got a Family Dollar spirit.
she's very of the people.
Yeah, it's giving
Drew.
Marshalls. It is.
Yes.
It's giving Marshalls.
It's Marshalls, but Drew can't help the fact that she has corny taste. But we can agree, Drew's a beautiful woman.
I'm sorry, but she does not give luxury. I'm tired of the beauty making. This is about Real Housewives. This is not a show about let's see what mom made with her coupons. This is not that. This is behind the gates.
True, but it's kind
trying.
of like true.
No, I'm sorry. This is not a try thing. It just doesn't work. That's why we have a problem with the show.
Yeah, but honestly,
I want to see passports.
admit who said it earlier. We need to admit that no fabulously wealthy people,
I said it earlier,
yes, are going to come on Real Housewives of Atlanta unless there's something wrong with them.
Exactly.
Listen, I've said this and I'll say it once and I'll say it again. You got that much money sitting in your bank account. You think it's like even people like, Tisa, would you ever do reality TV? Hell no, y'all ain't messing up my bag. I got a good thing going. No, y'all ain't ripping apart my life. Like, it's just like, no, like people.
That's why it has to be people who had some fame, like from the 90s.
Yeah, or like you needed it because you're trying to get into like a new business or new exposure. Like, I get it. It is a marketing tool, but if I don't need it for exposure, right? And not that I don't need exposure, but I wouldn't know what to do with that type of fame. That you see what I'm saying? It's like, what would I do? It'd be all the headache, but I can't really implement it the way I want. So people are usually doing it to launch something, make it come up, or like you said, they just need it for but even Drew's doing it because she's hoping acting opportunities come her way. And it probably
How
will.
low do we need to go, Tisa? I'm sorry. Like, I don't think that. I mean, even LaToya, I will never understand why they got rid of LaToya for Drew, Marlo, and Sonya.
You know what?
I don't understand that
it either. I actually liked LaToya's energy.
She trended every week. Candy constantly reminds us of that.
Yeah, no, listen, LaToya was such a good addition and she left a mark. We still remember her. And the fact that we do have Drew, between Drew and LaToya, it's like, why isn't LaToya here? The fact that we do have Drew, Marlo, Sanya, when honestly, all of them could have been scrapped for one LaToya.
LaToya was lightning in the bottle. We haven't had that since Kenya. When Peter still talks about the time that Kenya grabbed the boat on their trip and she started driving the boat. He was like, who's this girl? I think that LaToya and Fallon were collateral damage for Portia and the puppeteering that the production team was doing. And I think that's, I know they got a new team, but that really hurt the show.
It really did. And I will say stuff that Fallon would have been good taking over Cynthia's position. LaToya could have taken over 3 positions. But I did also like the fact that with LaToya, especially, and of course Fallon, but definitely LaToya, it maybe because she was on YouTube so long, it harkened back to that energy where you are being an authentic version of yourself. You're being an authentic version. You're not worrying about what the fans are saying. You're not playing to the camera. You are just being an authentic version of yourself. Of course, nobody is completely authentic, right? But you're being like the most authentic version of yourself that you can be while a camera's rolling. And that was literally, like you said, lightning in a bottle. The producers really messed up. In order, because you replaced her with Drew, because Drew will do and say anything production tells her to do. Anything. No matter how corny, no matter what, the dog treats. Drew pulling out like doggy bones and be like, "Arf, arf, arf." Drew, you don't even have a dog. We're on a driveway. Drew, you literally packed doggy treats.
Hold on.
You sat in a car, holding on to the doggy treats, went upstairs, unpacked, made sure you put your doggy treats in your jacket, walked outside so you could have a moment with doggy treats. And the producers are like, "Great job. We love that." And it's just like, Drew was
such a clown. I'm sorry. I can't take it.
And remember, LaToya also had that whole little, I'm divorced, but not divorced, but I'm dating. Like, she had I feel like there was so much that we could learn about LaToya. Her life was interesting, and I wanted more, I wanted to see more of it. And
she
I
just
don't
didn't
understand.
care,
Yeah,
I think her problem was she went after Fallon to get cool with Portia because she was trying to play the Portia production game. And I think that really hurt her.
Portia, you know what? That'd be interesting to actually hear Latoya talk. But Latoya's a professional. I doubt she'll actually spill like
And she's
what
actually rich.
actually happened. Because I kind of feel like producers, I really think like with the Fallon drama, they still would have bought her back. I think that they blamed everything on Latoya so that Portia could be the person
Could be
coming back.
saved, right?
Yeah, they literally did do that just so Portia could be the person that comes back. But that was a dumb thing because then Portia ran with Simon, got her own show. You know, this is the weird thing about Portia. And I will always say, right? Portia to me is like narc tendencies, liar, but Portia is also like she's comedic relief. She's very good at she does when she plays her role. She's very good at it in an ensemble. She is. Who didn't fall laughing with the Underground RHOA? The only thing was we thought Portia was in on the joke, and the whole time Portia's just angry that people laughing at her, calling her stupid. Meanwhile, I'm thinking you just playing, you're stupid. Like, of course you know the Underground RHOA.
Portia is an evil, calculated maniac. I'm sorry.
Portia, when she left, she had finally rehabbed her image from fighting. She'd gotten into that, fake.
Yeah, by having sex with a tag.
She got back into the thing. She gotten picked up by one of the top Hollywood agents, right? Now, we don't know how that goes.
I'm not a fan.
Yeah. You had, in your mind, you were dating someone worth $500 million because this dummy read the internet and his fake bios and believed it, right? You were dating somebody $500 million, civil rights, speaking engagements, and you had your own something that could have been a spinoff.
But Portia was broken. People don't realize that Portia does not have money. We saw that the pandemic put a lot of celebrities and Bravo celebrities in panic mode because they are not liquid. And she went after Simon because it's a better look than going after housewives and have to hustle for that money. She does not have wealth. Portia is one of the brokest ones on the show.
She is, but also to the fact of you had all this opportunity. This could have been your year that you said, F the haters. You were on a nationally syndicated talk show.
Taking Bravo down on
you were on a radio show. You were on this stuff. You could have said
on a radio show. She probably made $30,000 a year on. I'm sorry. I'm not going to give her that much.
No, but here's the thing. She had an agency with that type of voice and access. Could have flipped it into a cute little check for her. A few cute little checks. Now again, Portia's her own enemy because what did she do? You literally acted a show on your show and tried to fight your daughter's father, your daughter's grandmother. Then you tried to get him locked up, and you did all this because you thought that you were sitting on $500 million and you never have to work again. And he's in your ear being like, baby, I got your back, whatever you need. And now you're sitting here stuck begging to get back on Real Housewives of Atlanta. And then looking at you like,
if the name ain't Dane Goldie or Otedola who'll be across the street over here at the St. Regis, it ain't hitting. Everybody knows who the money is. And you've even said it on one of your reviews before about her show and about Simon and Portia. People know where the money is the African money is in Atlanta. That's just a fact. And we know where the money is, and we know the pretenders and we know the not pretenders. I've been here off and on for 2 decades. And I'll tell you one thing. Portia don't have it and Simon don't have it. Just like Marlo doesn't have it. You can make a lot look like a little bit here when you've already had a house or had some things or can rent some things, because people are going to trade relationships for things with you, because one day when you get on the Housewives like Simon, you'll be able to put them on or they can be affiliated with you. I will never give Portia that much. Portia is an ignorant, classless, monster, low down, trashy, trifling loser from the pits of hell. Okay?
Copycat. Add copycat to that, because to me, she's one of the biggest copycats I've ever seen on TV.
She copies off of Kenya.
Portia copies everything that she copied Kenya for like 4 seasons, girl.
Everything she wears.
She went and got Kenya's car. She did her hair like Kenya. She would literally wear the same outfits Kenya did. That was really creepy to me. And now I see she's copying Fallon. And that to me is really creepy.
That's weird.
Tisa pointed it out in a video last year, I think.
Yeah, but she had to stop copying her. And
single black female, you called her, I think.
Yeah, but the thing is with Portia, and this is the thing, I don't think that Portia's ever been truly happy in a relationship, because if she was, she would know how everything she's doing screams.
Yo, you ain't spilling all the tea. I'm
telling you. She's a lesbian. How don't you know that?
Rumors, right? But what I'm trying to say is she's never been truly happy in a relationship, because you don't even know how to fake like you're happy. People that are happy do not sit there and cosplay the ex's girl. They don't do little subs on the internet. You know what I'm saying? You too busy being happy, living your life.
Diane, Lauren's mom, and Lauren. All her issues stem from that. You see?
I agree.
She's never the top choice. She doesn't feel like that, even though she has a family who loves her. She has a beautiful daughter. She has a great father for her child. She's not happy because she still has that wound. And I really, really don't like that people give Portia props because she's literally the worst representation of Black American women. And that's the hill I'll die on.
Well, I don't identify with Portia, so I don't feel like
because you're a woman.
Yeah, I don't feel like she represents me. So that's why I said I didn't even realize Portia like was so popular. I had never realized this. I thought Portia was always just like the girl that I go to use the bathroom when it's her time on the show. I didn't realize that Portia was so popular. I think that she's beautiful. She's beautiful after all that surgery. She looks good. She enhanced herself so that she was the eye candy of the show, you know? And
that's the best she can do. That's the best she can enhance herself till she failed.
And to me, that's another thing of her copycatting Kenya, because Kenya was a girl that every time she walked in, everybody looked at her. It was literally like, oh, every time Kenya walked into a scene, and you know, Portia was like, I'm gonna do that. I need to aspire to be that girl, and she did it. She made
it every time before picture. I'm sorry.
Remember when Portia was having her mom driving her around, talking about she's sick, and then show up 6 days later, like, oh my God, look how much weight I lost from the flu. And it's just like,
Portia is a loser. But okay, here's the thing. I do not like Sonya. Did I say that already?
Yes.
Yeah, you did.
I just wanted to be sure.
Well, listen, Sonya is Sonya. Listen, they said everybody is pretty much has contracts to be asked back. We'll see if the money's right, but they're starting to film in October, and that's literally just a couple of weeks away. So,
Tisa, I know you don't watch every episode to speak on it, but before you go, because I feel like this is going to wrap up soon, but I want to say this. Have you guys noticed that Kandi constantly says that she was not connected to Sonya during the show, but they developed a relationship after they went on a vacation? Something went down on that vacation, and we know Kandi thinks with her strap on. So Kandi thinking with her strap on, either she had a sexual relationship with Sonya or something happened because she only defends people like that she's been intimate with. She doesn't defend Kenya.
Stop. There will be
These are not the views of TisaTells. Kandi, you're my girl. I know you're in real life, but something went down. Something went down. Why is she so team Sonya? I don't understand it.
I think I know why.
Why?
Because I think Kandi is she's a seasoned celebrity. She has a very good understanding of this world. One, she's married to Todd, who is a producer. Todd is in her ear, letting her know what's good for the show, what's not good for the show. In my opinion, Sonya is the new baby. Like, they want to create this show around Sonya. That's in my opinion. They want Sonya to be the anchor of the new world of Real Housewives of Atlanta.
I think they're taking a lot of Black
realizes that
and putting a lot of foreigners in.
Right. Kandi realizes that, and Kandi is like, you know what? She did bad on her first season, but I'm gonna stay on this wave because I understand that the establishment is for Sonya. You know what I mean?
So I think that's horrible. And I think they're removing Betty. I know you're from New York. Tisa, I don't know your background fully, but maybe you guys are mixed, but I'm 100% Black American. And I'm telling you, they're trying to take this show in a different direction with Garcelle, Wendy, Sonya, Tanya, LaToya, Tanya, LaToya. They're taking this show in a different direction. If Fatum would have worked out, and I think that's where they're going to go. It's going to be like taking less, there's going to be less Black Americans, and it's going to be more foreigners, and nothing is wrong with that because they're all melanated. But I think to anchor this show around Sonya when her own show failed is horrible. She's a poor woman. She's gigging. She doesn't have much going for herself. She ran, big deal. And she won one Olympic gold medal on her own merits and in a couple of relays. I'm not taking that from her. You know, some people run for a living. Yay, go her. But what I do not like is the fact that she is a two-faced, messy, gaslighting monster. She's unattractive and she has a six-head Sonya with the Sherman Hemsley hairline. You know, that's what I call her on Lipstick Alley. I do not like Sanya, blah, blah, blah. I don't like her. I think she's childish, immature, unattractive, and manly.
I don't like Sonya either, but I'm hoping they give her a better script next season so she can, adjust her attitude.
But Betty, why does she need a script?
Because that's just what's going on Bravo, girl. That's what's going on over there at Bravo. Everybody got a role to play. Everybody got a script to read. They don't want the girls to be organic.
Sherman Hemsley hairline, 6 heads showing you with the Sherman
Y'all,
they're gonna be dragging me on the alley tomorrow. It's me, bitches. I can't stand that bitch. I can't stand Mugshot Marlo, aka Mojangles. Call it Mojangles. I can't stand Mugshot Marlo. Marlo is a felon. She's filthy. Sheree is a failure. I really don't like these wars. I mean, I'm sorry. But anyway, you guys.
This is all we got, though. This is all we got. We trying to work with what we got.
I'm sorry. Why do we have to work with what we got? We don't have a poverty mindset. We have an abundance mindset. And I honestly feel like they should anchor the show around Candy and Kenya. They can keep Drew because, she's poor. She's going to work for it. And Sonya, they can keep Sonya, too, because she is an Olympic athlete. She's part of the diaspora. And she brings a Jamaican flair, even though it's contrived. And, Jamaica, she turned her back on Jamaica. She didn't run for them. What a fucking fool. And I honestly really feel that Marlo should go and Sheree should stay because Sheree's the punching bag. She's the pinata of the show. Will she or won't she fail? She will fail and will hold on. But I honestly think Marlo is pathetic, pedestrian, and really psycho. She really has mental issues. And if she has to go on an apology tour to stay on the show, maybe she's not fit for polite society. Something's wrong with her.
But don't you want to see that mess? Don't you want to see it?
No, I don't. No, I don't. I think
this is what I understand with Marlo. At the end of the day, and let me know what y'all think. The one thing that came off as so fake, where did this Candy walked in and said, "Good morning. That's why nobody loves you," right? Candy walked in and said, "Hey, Marlo, you want some soda?" Marlo went in. Marlo created one-sided beefs, went in, went ham, then tried to gaslight. They came back and said, "I apologize. I'll have to do better." It was just okay,
it was psycho. It was.
But you want to know what? They didn't know what Kenya was saying about them or in the confessional, so they were going overboard, and they went to overkill. And
then Kenya trolled them by being nice. Also, Kenya trolled the hell out of all of them.
Yes, my girl.
No, it was just a lot. The reunion, Andy Cohen needs to do another reunion. That doesn't need to do another reunion. It was a mess. Thank God that we're off of it. It's such a shame where it's like you have all this talent, all these things we could talk about, all these shady moments, all, and all you gave us was Andy telling them to sit down, be quiet, moving on. And like you said, Betty, telling us how to think. We don't need you telling us who's the villain and who needs our sympathy. We'll figure it out on our own. But Andy,
does Real Housewives need a villain?
Why do we need a villain? What is that about?
Yeah.
Well, you honestly think talking about my bestie about this. That's one reason why Bravo, it's like they just need to hang it up. Life is like you can be the villain in someone's story, but the next season you could be like, I'm not on that anymore. We all go through it where it's like you might just be like, I want her to pay. Then the next year you're just like, I don't care about that anymore. The fact that it's like everyone stay locked into it is you're the good girl, you're the villain, you're the businesswoman. Can they just be themselves? Like, Candy can be the sweetheart, but we can see her cursing out the girl in Chick-fil-A because she forgot her milkshake, right? Mm-hmm. Kenya can be the villain, but she can also do really sweet things and be a great mom and like show us that she cares for other people. Marlo can be
a little bit of villain in us.
Yeah,
I think the magic in New York.
But it's just so disingenuous that even Sheree came back, and after 14 years, Sheree can't do, Sheree did it to herself. I was like, Sheree can't do anything but be a mess, but
failure.
Yeah.
Failure. I think that New York had it right. I think Real Housewives of Atlanta, I don't think a lot of people were accustomed to dealing with Black American women who had some influence, who had some celebrity. So I think that show showed us some aspiration, and some of us it showed us ourselves and our peers. But I think the show had great moments. The thing about New York, though, is that all of these women were villains. All of these women were good girls. All of these women were business women. All of them were mothers. They had bad relationships. They had good relationships. I think that you should let people be.
Mm-hmm.
True. That's true. You should let people be, but I don't know. I don't know what's wrong. Maybe it's so hard to produce a reality TV show. I don't know why everybody else seems to be making entertainment ones. Bravo's the only one that's fallen off. But this reunion right here, was one for the ages in disappointment.
The most boring reunion I have ever seen.
This reminded me of the most boring. You know when they used to have 4-part reunions? This was part 2. Remember how part 2 would always be the boring one? This was this was more boring than the most boring part 2 of a 4-part reunion.
Wait, it was 3 tonight though, right?
It was 3.
I didn't watch yet, so
it was. Listen, it was just super like I kept waiting, even though I knew after the second one, I was like, I knew, but I still watched, and it did not.
Well, Kenya told us, she foretold us. Remember, she was like, yeah. It's not, the Shade Assassin wasn't there, basically things like that. I just think that there's an agenda, and I think that we cannot watch entertainment just to be entertained. We have to look behind the veil, and that's why, honestly, my personal life, I've been watching more old school things, going back and watch things I watched before, like watching A Different World as an adult, and other things, and watching movies that I really, really love, like Trading Places, Coming to America. And I'm really looking at these things and enjoying them again for the first time. But I think that there's an agenda behind everything we watch now, and I just don't want to be marketed to, and I don't want to be conditioned. So I think there has to be a bit of discernment when we watch things and we consume things. And I can tell you honestly that this cottage industry of the YouTubers reviewing the shows is how I keep up with the shows, because I don't watch it.
Yeah, that's so true. Your show is way more entertaining than Real Housewives of Atlanta, okay, Tisa? In case you ain't know.
And the way you broke down about Marlo and her sympathy ploy the other day, you had her number, and the way Betty and another lady, like a couple of weeks before the reunion, baby, y'all have their numbers. And I think that you have to watch the show from an intellectual, discerning perspective. You can't just watch it.
Yeah. But Marlo, like, you've been talking to too many Andy Cohens, too many people. That's just like, for some reason, if you're Black and you come in the scene and you're like, I'm fine, my parents love me, I went to college.
They like that trauma porn.
Thank you. They need the trauma porn. They want to hear how you came up from the gutter, and I was homeless at 10, sleeping on mattresses. Marlo, shut up. Right.
And I know the Clears, they like that, because I'm from Louisiana, but I was here in Georgia during Hurricane Katrina. And I found it so odd that people would pay on tours to go see the devastation left behind in the lower Ninth Ward in New Orleans after Hurricane Katrina. And I'm like, what does that say about you as a person that you like to do that? As a level of depravity.
But remember in New York, right? I read about it, where I don't know if they still do it, but they were taking tourists to the dangerous parts of New York.
Yeah, like, what is that? They want to see Blacks in the wild.
That's what it was.
That's what it is.
It was tours that would be like, this is where the Pyrus hang out. This is this is that. Nice. And they would go deep in her. Basically, it literally was, I don't know if it got shut down or what, but Google it was because they were like, it's like basically I think they even called it an urban safari. It was weird. So the people that like that.
Yeah, it's kind of like those guys who date melanated women, and they do it because they feel like on a level they're slumming. And it's not the ones that have a genuine affection, but some of them feel like, oh, I'm slumming. This is degrading for me. And honestly, I've dated the rainbow, mostly non-melanated. But the thing that I don't like is that people are falling for Marlo's sympathy. Maybe 50% of the people, some of them she's turning. But I think that they're not realizing it's only because it plays to every negative stereotype. Because if they're really sympathetic, if they're really empathetic, why don't they have that for Kenya? But they have it for Marlo, because she's like,
because Kenya because it's the context. When Kenya talks about her past, she talks about it in the context of, this is who I am in spite of what I've been through. Right. Yeah. Marlo uses that as, this is the reason why I am the person you see today, the evil person. There's a difference in context, and that's my big issue with Andy, because you never allowed Kenya to do that. Kenya was giving a really good example of a Black woman who went through a lot, but she came up out of that. Like, the rose that grew from the concrete. Kenya was really trying to do that on that show, and Andy, you shot it down every time. Every time you shot it down. And for some reason, you have a problem with Kenya because she wants to represent that on the show.
Because she's dark-skinned, and like the guy said earlier,
Marlo is allowed to be the biggest stereotype I have ever seen on a TV show. She is so stereotypical Black woman.
They want that the same way they wanted being like, KFC is magical.
That chicken treaty, I am so ashamed of my dear friend Candy.
I hate when she does that. I was just cringe every time. Like, why?
That's for no reason. Be like, good morning. Son, just stop. Like, God. But like,
I think the stereotypes are running, the inmates are running the prison. No, the stereotypes are running the image that they want to have for Black women, but we don't see that because we don't see that with Condoleezza. We don't see that with Michelle, Ava, Oprah. We don't see this stereotype, and they want to make sure that if you can't see it with them, if you can't see it with Ketanji Brown, you're going to see it on the Housewives. You see what I mean?
Exactly.
It's conditioning.
But listen, you guys, this was the best review ever. Let me go.
Really?
Right?
Oh, you're welcome.
Everybody's just like, I'm only going to be on for an hour, I swear. But this conversation was so good. Listen, love the Bible. Make sure you DM me, Betty. I already got your hookup, right? If I'm not, am I following you, Betty? Whatever. Hit me
Girl,
up.
I don't got no social media. I come on YouTube just to talk to Tisa. That's it.
Listen,
y'all want to see me talking right here on this channel where I'll be.
I got to ask your opinion. I'm definitely going to do Potomac, right? We got to make this a regular panel because the energy is so good. But also, I'm thinking about jumping into Love and Marriage Huntsville. I don't know. What y'all think? Have y'all been watching that?
I've never watched this. Sorry.
I've never watched that either, but I know a lot because I watch your reviews, but I don't watch that show.
Why did Love the Bible just sneer like, I've never watched that?
I'm sorry. Like, I don't have a love
like,
spirit. I don't have a TJ Maxx in me.
Yeah. Okay. Well, listen.
No, I'm sorry, Tisa. If you want me to be on, I'll be on because I think
we might actually just break because I'm ready for Potomac because I know the colorists, the excuses, and plus it looks like it's going to be some good drama. Mia is going to be held accountable. I don't care what anybody says. She tried to lead us to believe that she had cancer, even though weird wording. I woke up, the fear I felt, my life changed.
Not the Kim Zolciak. Kim Zolciak, yes! You're putting the Kim Zolciak on us?
And then 10 weeks later,
you know what? I may watch Potomac because, I think it was Contrary Canary said colorism is the 7th or 8th cast member on that show.
It sure is.
When Mia popped up 10 weeks later, and we were all like, so like, are you in therapy? You want to give us an update? Oh, what are you talking about? Oh no, it's cool. It was a false alarm, but and it was just like, and then got mad at us. How dare you guys? You're the one that popped into our timeline telling us you had cancer. My life changed in a second. I looked at my children. Jean was with me.
Okay, here's the thing, and I know you don't want to go up on this, but people like Portia, Mia, and Marlo don't have a place on this show. Horrors and strippers.
I will agree. I agree with you on that. I'm waiting to see how Mia turns out this season, but the fact
me too. I'm waiting.
They feel like Bravo's like, oh, let's get these ratings. They bring on someone that is a shameless liar. Mia will be in the same scene. Remember how she was like, do you feel like you need to dress sexy to get respect? Well, Michelle Obama doesn't dress sexy. Meanwhile, Mia, you sitting there in a G-string talking about boss babe. Like, I'm just sick. Mia is such a liar.
Mia to me is a good kind of crazy. That's the original reality star. Like, yes, bring me a girl who just will say anything and she's beautiful.
Well,
I like Mia for now. I like her
as
for
long
now.
As I want to go is Nene. I don't want to go past Nene.
Listen, I hope she got some therapy because one thing I will say is Mia was unraveling afterwards when everybody was calling her out on her lies, because when you live in the real world, you can move in and out with those lies, right? But when you're on reality TV, it's like you just said A, B, and C. So we'll see. And Mia got it together, but judging by the way she casually flipped that martini on Wendy, it's like, okay, so you are the
that show's on right now.
Too much.
No, it's coming on in October.
Oh, okay.
It happens sometimes. The girls do go over the boundaries. They be team too much. Mia, really Batgirl. We don't need all that.
So it sounds like you're a Mia fan, Betty.
No, I mean, honestly, I don't know. Mia was not like that memorable. So I want to give her more. I want to give her a chance to give me more so I can actually come to a conclusion. Okay. So far, though, I don't really have much to say other than that she was entertaining.
I have to go back and watch because I really don't like the ladies, and I stopped watching when I just felt like it was so nasty the way that Giselle went after Karen's when her finances weren't going well. I stopped watching, and Ashley was too nasty for me.
That was crazy. And then Karen was breaking down, and that's why Karen be going in on Giselle. But then I remembered that scene, and I was like, Giselle, you deserve all of it because you literally kicked Karen while she was at the lowest point anybody could ever be at.
You know what it reminded me of? It reminded me of how viciously Teresa's family went after her on Jersey. I can't watch that. I think that's too raw for me.
Yeah, it's too
Especially
much.
when you know that they're like, this is real. Yeah, I
Like
agree.
that's
It's
real
like,
family. That's not entertaining.
Yeah, like you're both parents, you buried both parents within 6 months of each other, and you're up there heckling, doing this, calling her broke, making these jokes. That's when I realized, like, one, Giselle, you are broke. Jamal cut you off. All you got was that Gucci Fiat. Because Giselle shows up like rent is due. Talking about, I'm the unofficial
tear
producer,
down.
but you're not a producer. It's like, Giselle, that was, ugh. Yeah.
Giselle, baby, I know all your tea. I know Erica Lyles, but here's the thing. I think that Giselle is good for TV.
I think she's good for TV too. I'll give her that.
She's limited. She's not entertaining, but she's good for TV.
Yes, to a point, but the fact that in reality TV, it can be funny, entertaining, got you in everything without being completely morally depraved.
Yeah.
Did you need to go after her with her parents? You know, did you? While both her parents were dying? It's almost like the producers wanted to see Karen break, and they kept telling Giselle, go, go, go. It could have been so many other storylines, right? We could have turned the camera on Giselle and been like, so what's going on with you and Pastor Holy? Holy roller. You know, but I will say, seriously, let me get out of here. I will say Potomac looks like it's going to be good this season. Giselle is good TV, but honestly, and this is a moral conundrum with reality TV. How much is too much? It's like, it's funny. Is this the curse house? Ha ha ha. But now you're making people cry because both their parents got buried. This is too much. I don't want to be a part of this nonsense. This is crazy. This is crazy.
You know, when I knew Giselle was evil, when she tried to sit Katie down and was asking her, so are you on drugs? It's like, whoa, where did this come from?
Ashley too, right? That was so low. That's too low.
It was so random. Katie was like, I'm sleepy or something. And Giselle had everybody to sit down and do an intervention. I was like, oh, this bitch is evil.
Yeah, but they threw her away when they were done with her. Again, reality TV is a little bit evil, but what are you gonna do? Anyway, you guys, we will all see y'all. Betty, love the Bible. I will see y'all for Potomac. Until then, let's enjoy the other clown shows that's going on. Until
I'm gonna like the video too. We need some more likes, y'all.
Like that.
Exactly. Like the video.
Good night, guys.
Good night.
All right. Bye, everybody. Talk to y'all later.